All right, so crypto's coming down, Cardano's coming down, Bitcoin's coming down, everything is coming down, and everyone and their mom is saying, what in the world is going on here? Should we be selling? Should we be buying? What does this mean for Cardano's price action? I want to show you what I'm looking at on the Cardano chart so you can see that, hey, this price action is not a huge deal. This is actually expected for Cardano. Cardano's in a lot of good positions still. And if you're buying Cardano under $1, I think you are putting yourself in a maximum upside potential. Obviously, buying it at 35 cents is a little bit better than buying it at 95 cents, but I think there's a lot of reasons to be very, very bullish on crypto still, and that the cycle is nowhere near over. Okay, so we're gonna look at Cardano, we're gonna look at everything I'm looking at on the chart, why I think buying ADA under $1 is a good thing, and then we're also gonna transition to the Cardano native tokens, the typical ones I typically look at, Hunt, Lenfi, NVL. We can take a look at those and show you how those charts are actually still doing very well for themselves, holding key support. Okay, we want to get all the supports and everything's holding great support. We'll put chapters in the description so you can skip around a little bit, but let's just show you what I'm looking at. All right, hopefully all of it makes sense. Before we jump too far into the video as well, in the description of this video, Crypto 100x Blueprint, my 7 steps to 100x my portfolio. It's what I'm doing this whole cycle, what I've been doing and been talking about. If you want that alpha, get it in the description, absolutely free. Now, to start this off, this is a monthly Cardano chart. I think we want to look at the furthest time frame out because it's the least crowded, right? Daily fluctuation, hourly fluctuation, all that, none of it even matters. In my opinion, what matters is what's going on week over week and month over month, okay? And if you look at this right here, we had a beautiful November for Cardano, up 216%, and this December is just starting off coming down just a little bit. But look, we have previous support that we passed and we are still holding on to. Got rejected right off of this trend line here. You can see, if you remember my ultimate Cardano video, we had this from the 2018 to 2021 cycle, this trend line Cardano kind of had, and then November was the one to take out the higher high. December kind of bounced around here. You can see how much it went up and down. It actually corrected a total of something like 37% in December of 2020, heading into the 2021 bull market. So 37%, I mean, if we did that today, that would put us all the way down to right around 80 cents, right around 80 cents for Cardano if we went down 37%. And so that is my first big thing I want to talk to you about, is like the price action that we saw last cycle leading into the $3 ADA price is doing what is expected today based on the historical cycle. If you didn't watch my ultimate Cardano price prediction real quick, you can see we have this inverted V. We have a lowest low of the cycle. What do we have here in 2023, 2024? Inverted V, lowest low of the cycle. And then we had a 1, 2, 3 exit, which we're looking at 1, 2, 3 exit. This part's a little bit different than right here. It kind of got a little bit extended, and this is the COVID crash. But in my opinion, what we are doing right here is November 2024 is repeating November 2020. November took out the previous higher high. Again, November took out the previous higher high. And this is our December. We could draw down all the way like 35, 37% down to this 80-cent level, and that would still be perfectly okay for Cardano. After we look at the price action, I typically always want to look at two other things. I want to look at some moving averages, and I want to look at the RSI. And I think that these are very important because it's what a lot of normal retail investors will look at, and that's what we are, normal retail investors that just have a little bit better plan, but they also show us some more support, some more momentum, some more structure, okay? And so if we look here today, this orange one, the light orange one is our 20-month simple moving average, but the yellow one, I guess, but the orange one is our 50-month simple moving average. And look at what we have here. December is still above the 50-month moving averages. Now, it's 50 months. This is a very powerful moving average. You see, we got rejected off of it in March of 2024, but over November, we have crossed it. And so in all realistic expectation with the moving averages, you want this yellow to keep curling up and cross over the orange. That'd be a very bullish signal. But as long as December is maintaining this support and therefore maintaining this moving average, that is a good sign, which we are still currently doing. Okay, if we did even do the 35% drawdown that we had last cycle, we would still be above the moving average. You see that? We would still, the moving average is down 43% from where we are today. And I realistically do not expect Cardano to go below the support, go below this moving average, and break all of these long-term monthly moving averages it has been building. Right after the moving average, we want to go into the RSI. You can come down here and see for yourself. The RSI is still moving in a very bullish momentum. We have some room to the downside here, right? Like the RSI can come back to the RSI moving average, which is this yellow line. But overall, the RSI is making higher highs, higher lows, and it is trending in the right direction. We can mirror all of these things down into the weekly chart as well. I love a good weekly chart. This is the weekly chart for Cardano, and you can see here on the weekly chart, yeah, the RSI got a little overheated, right? Cardano got a little overheated and is simply making its way back to the moving average. Now, if Cardano starts to, if the RSI breaks down below the moving average and makes a new lower low, breaking this whole trend, that would be a bigger discussion. But so far, we are not having that discussion. This is a simple retracement back to the moving average. You can see right here, the weekly price of Cardano is simply retracing down to this. This is a 100-week simple moving average, this red line. And so we have all these moving averages converging and crossing, making their way back up to the 100-week simple moving average. And price is still maintaining that 100-week moving average. That is a great sign. It's no negative thing to have price retreat down to a 100 moving average, get some support, and then continue back upwards, breaking more resistance levels, which is I mean, honestly, what I really expect to happen. The last thing, I mean, we can always add some more indicators on here. I like to look at the MACD as well. So if we came in here, two more things I think we should look at is the Fibonacci, a large scale monthly candle Fibonacci, just to see where things are at. I think that's always important. You can put this Fibonacci here and you can see price simply kind of got rejected off that 618 and it got, a little above it, but in the overall realm of things, it's kind of right along that 618 level coming back. And so we kind of have this 786 bottom, which is down here right around our moving average. So I think we got a lot of converging things here for support to say like this would not be a bad thing for Cardano to come down to the 80-cent level. Now, obviously, I don't want it to, right? I don't really care for price to continue to go lower and lower and lower, but I honestly don't think that it's much of a concern right now. And I think the price action right now is just a lot of fear from people, which without a ton of technical bias or like long-term reasoning. I think long-term investors are actually pretty bullish and are still bullish and know that the cycle is still going. Like right now we have Bitcoin's not at its risk levels. It's not at its RSI. And those two are big things. Bitcoin has a lot of room to move upwards, even if we have some of these accumulation periods. You can also see how last cycle in Cardano, 2021, look at how high the MACD got, how much green we got, and look at where we are today. We're just barely crossing over that zero line. Back in January 2021 is when we first crossed that zero line as well. So you could say that the price action today is very relevant to the price action in January 2021 based on the MACD. And I know we just talked about Bitcoin, and this is going to be a Cardano video, but let me show you just on the Bitcoin chart what I'm talking about here real quick. Let me get a monthly RSI pulled up here for you. And then we're going to look at the risk levels. And you can do the same things on Cardano, and it's very, very interesting. So if you are kind of like a Bitcoin analyst, you're looking at some things. A lot of people are looking at this on Bitcoin. If you're not super familiar, this is the RSI for the monthly chart on Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin has not tagged this yet, a lot of people think that the cycle is still going. I personally still think that the cycle is still going. I made a video a couple days ago how I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin at 120,000, but it's not because I don't think it goes higher. I think Bitcoin does go higher, probably up to maybe at the maximum, like I think at the ultimate maximum, like 185,000. But maybe it's like 160, 170, 150, somewhere in there. But you can see this RSI has not touched the trend line. And you can see every time it does touch the trend line, we have a local top for the cycle. Now, the last thing we can look at on this Bitcoin chart, don't worry, I'll show it to you on the Cardano chart here in just a second. We can go to the Bitcoin risk metric, and you can see how in the peaks, Bitcoin is getting into this orange-red level, kind of around 0.8, 0.9 on the Bitcoin risk metric. You can see it last in 2017 here as well. Where we are today, we're at 0.6, 0.5, 0.6 for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin still has a lot of risk to gain in order to get to that very oversold risky level. We can take this and just move it right back into the Cardano chart and see where we are today. You can see back in 2021, Cardano was very risky actually for quite a while. leading into the bull market, and then as it kind of peaked out, risk started dropping off a ton. So that's kind of what I would be looking for if I wanted to have kind of an analysis of where risk was for Cardano today. This is a little bit different than Bitcoin. You know, Cardano doesn't have as much risk data, which I think is what's throwing this off. I also think it's much riskier at lower levels and gets less risky as it gets higher for some reason. Or like the risk is like a foreshadowing event of where price goes, but then as risk falls off, you need to be careful with price. I think that's something we should look for. Here in Cardano today, we have not even gotten into the red. We've not even gotten into the high risk levels. And so you can kind of say that, you know, we're like right here or right here, right? Compared to where Cardano can get risk wise. So I think this risk chart is a little bit, it needs more data. You know, it's still a little immature with just only 2 cycles of data, but it's still something to watch for. Cardano has not reached maximum risk, and therefore I still think we're in a very healthy movement, right? Last in March, when things were really starting to peak out for that mid-cycle top, this is where risk got. We're a little bit higher, but we still have a long ways to go. So that's kind of what we see. I mean, that's personally what I see on the Cardano charts. Let me move you into the Cardano native tokens here. I want to look at 3 of them. I want to look at Hunt, Lenfi, and Dedi. Or I'm sorry, not Dedi, Hunt, Lenfi, and NVL. And I want to show you why I'm still bullish on all 3 of these tokens on weekly and 3-day charts, okay? So this is the Hunt token, the token of Dex Hunter. And the big things that I'm looking at, you know, you can see, we can look at this in the logarithmic. It's kind of a pain. We can look at this in a normal chart, but this is what I'm looking at. And the 2 big things I want to look at is, again, same thing on the Cardano charts, is that the moving averages are still holding for Hunt. Okay, this orange line right here is a 20-week simple moving average, and then this blue line is a 50-week simple moving average. And on the weekly chart, these 2 are still, this 20-week is specifically still holding that Hunt price, holding it up as a good level of support. We did have an up and down, and then you know, we did retrace a little bit, but as far as I can tell, this 20-week is still a good support. I bought some 2 days ago, bought some more Hunt, and because of that support and because of what the RSI is showing, that we are still having upwards momentum in the RSI. RSI is still holding the moving average. The MACD is just kind of retracing to its orange line here just a little bit, but it is about to cross the 0 line. So I think these things, these Cardano native tokens, are really just starting to get into their pump season. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to be had, right? This is the Fibonacci levels here. And you can see the 786 is down here. We're clearly off that. Got a little rejected on the 618 here. And I think, you know, in a couple of weeks, Hunt will continue to push higher. Let me show you the 3-day, get a little bit more data here. And you can see the same thing happening. Look at this long-term RSI just continuing to go upwards. It's dipping down a little, but that can be expected in a bull market, right? In an upwards price swing. You can dip below the moving average a little bit as things kind of need to cool down for a second. But you can see our RSI just crossing the green, crossing the 0 line. Or I'm sorry, the MACD just crossing 0 line, RSI moving upwards. And the biggest thing is right here. These moving averages, this orange 23-day is converging across the 50, which is converging across the 100. So that is a pretty bullish indicator in my opinion. Taking you to the Lenfi chart. Basically, we're gonna look at kind of the same things. I look at the same thing on every chart. This chart on my laptop doesn't have as much data as my desktop, so we can add some things in here. But this is the Lenfi chart, weekly chart, Lenfi versus ADA. And you can see here is kind of this price action. Lenfi came up, got rejected off of, this is the 100-week simple moving average, kind of around this old 786 it had from last cycle, right? We're trying to break back into that 786 again, which it was not able to do. But the big thing that I'm bullish on here, this is a weekly chart, is that Lenfi is still maintaining above this 20-week moving average. I mean, the 20-week is curling up, about to cross the 50-week, which will then cross the 100-week. This is kind of the momentum that we see the cycle going. We don't expect these native tokens to fall to new lows against ADA, but a cool down is regularly normal. We can see this also in our MACD, crossing the 0 line, indicating good momentum. RSI going upwards slowly, indicating good momentum again. Last cycle, this is what happened. We had an RSI come up and touch and up and touch, right? As Lenfi was cranking, this is just the first up and touch, right? This price action right here is very similar to this price action right here. And we all see what happened after that price action. That is what I am personally gearing up for. Last chart, I mean, on the Lenfi chart, we can also look at the 3-day as well. Just see what it's got going for it. You can see MACD, RSI. Look at these moving averages. The orange is overtaking like the 23-day is overtaking the 53-day, which is overtaking the 103-day. In my opinion, this is all bullish thing. And LenFi is holding every single one of these moving averages. In fact, the biggest thing on this 3-day, let's see, if we take like this low to this high, I mean, look at that. It's all these are kind of converging around that 618 level. That's a perfect retrace. Things typically retrace down to 618s, or even in a bull market down to the 0.5. And so this is a good, healthy spot for LenFi, in my opinion, right? I mean, I have no fear over any of these assets. NVL, the last one I want to look at. This one's actually been coming down more and more. And so this one I've been accumulating because it's actually been coming down, and I think people are undervaluing it a little bit in the Cardano native scene. But what do we got here? I mean, it is below. This is a completely different style of chart, and I'm investing into it for a completely different style of reason. This is below every moving average, but I'm really hoping that this RSI is bottoming here in the next, week or two, maybe in January. The MACD is slowly starting to come, horizontal instead of up and down, right? When it's up and down, it's falling. When it's horizontal, it's kind of making its accumulation zone. I want NVL to hit this accumulation zone where RSI is moving flat, MACD is moving flat, price is moving flat in this channel, right? In this 618 to 0.5 Fibonacci channel on this support line. And then I can accumulate more and more and more and more before all of these start to turn up again, right? That's kind of what I'm hoping. So you can see where we're at here. Obviously, I think it can still fall lower. I mean, when you're below a moving average like this, you have no real area of support. I mean, I think support's here at about 1.14 ADA. That'd be a good level of support. We have this level of support at 1.31, although, prices are 1.32, which price is actually a little bit lower right now. But I mean, this 618 Fibonacci is probably the next big spot I would target at the 1.14 as a support level. If it breaks that, I mean, you can go all the way down here to 0.7. So I'm not saying NVL can't go down further. I definitely think it can. The thing is, I think that this is a good time to take some risk, in my opinion, for my portfolio and accumulate this while people are undervaluing it. If we go down further into the daily chart, we can kind of see the same thing. I mean, like the RSI has already completely bottomed. It could come up a little back to kind of like the 50 level and then bottom again, which I would not be surprised by. I think what the big thing that you want to see is that the RSI coming up at the same time that the MACD breaks the zero line. So you can see this MACD has still not really come up enough and not crossed that zero line. So it's slowly making its way. RSI is slowly making its way, and price will probably slowly fall as they make their way upwards, right? These momentum oscillators typically precede price, or price can lag behind them. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay buying in a little bit early, price still falling a little bit, buying some more as these things turn around. That's what I did in LenFi. That's what I did with Hunt. That's what I'm doing here in NVL, just in case any day that price decides to spike on me. But you come in here, I mean, you see this, price is trying to find a way back to this 50-day moving average. The biggest bullish indicator you could see is price getting above the 20-week or the 20-day simple moving average, and then the 20-day moving upwards, getting above the 50-day simple moving average, and then getting above the 100-day. Okay, that's really what I would look for if you are trying to be bullish on Hunt. But the big thing I want to talk about in this video, the big overall arching goal that I hope you got from this video, is that yes, crypto is falling, but no, you should not be scared, okay? If you thought last week, right, if you thought a week ago or a month ago or in November, if you thought Cardano was the best asset ever and that you were making a ton of money and that things were great, if that's what you thought, your thoughts should not be any different here today in December, right? Price doesn't go up linearly. It doesn't go up forever. It doesn't do all these crazy things. This is a normal accumulation period around $1 for the Cardano ecosystem. It's the same thing for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's having this accumulation period around $100,000, which is a giant milestone. We've been talking about that thing for years, right? In Cardano, over the whole bear market, we've been talking about $1. All bear market, the Bitcoin community has been talking about 100K. And so it's not a surprise that some people are going to sell at 100K. We're going to get some FUD from the new, I think it's Google has this new chip that's quantum computing. I think that's probably what a lot of this is being caused by, this price action. If you watch my channel, I hope you kind of understand what I'm talking about here, that because price is coming down does not mean that you should do anything. Price is one aspect of a total investment decision. And if you thought Cardano was great in November, if you thought NVL or Hunt or IAG or WMT or SNEC or any of these projects were good in November because they were going up, then your thesis ideally shouldn't change in December when price is coming down just a little bit. Especially, it shouldn't change as price comes down and still maintains all of the technical indicators like moving averages, RSIs, MACDs, Fibonacci's that we have been looking at over the last 6 months, right? And so if you're watching my channel, I really hope you take that to heart, that unless price starts breaking all things and starts really falling down here and breaking all moving averages, there is no need for concern. I will be taking this time to find some more money, buy some more Cardano native tokens, kind of really double down as this last opportunity while we are right here in December before we hit January and February, which in my opinion could take Cardano all the way up here to around $3. All right. That's just what I'm looking at. I don't think you should be concerned about price today unless you're just in a really bad asset. At any point in time, if you're in a bad asset, I totally agree. You should really analyze what you're doing. But I don't think Cardano is a bad asset. I don't think Hunt or NVL or IAG or LendFi are bad assets. And so for me, price dips like this, while they are maintaining all of the things we've been looking at, are healthy price dips, healthy accumulation zones for more buyers to enter and for me to double down. All right. Let me know in the comments if you agree or what you think about this. That's the video. Cardano under $1 still has the potential to go to $3, $5, $7 this cycle. And if you buy it today, you could have like a solid 5x in the bag, right? That's what I'm looking at. I'd love to know if you agree down in the comments. Crypto 100x blueprint in the description. Get it if you haven't gotten it. And, I just really appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.